Okay, it's September of 2013, and August got a lot of things done. And as far as the first of the month here in September, they got the number boards for the headlight back up on the side there. Still no flying number boards. I don't think he's decided whether he's going to put them back up or not. I would say that for Christmas we would keep them off, and then early next year put them back on, especially for train festivals, so that way we have all of the number boards on it. We gotta repaint the face again eventually. Get rid of that little whiskers that are forming on here. We moved it out a few minutes, a couple hours ago, and just put it back in. We had the wire. We filled it up with wire. As you can see, the hose is laying there. We started with the garden hose and filled it slowly at the bottom. Once we got over halfway, and the washout plugs at the bottom were filled up, we used the fire hose, and I stood at the top of the steam dome there, aimed it inside, and they opened the valve, and it took about 20 minutes to get it filled up to the dome, at which point we stopped and they decided to connect the hose to the injector pipe and have it go through the pipes and into the boiler there. And that's when we started finding the leaks. Mostly it was in the sleeves for the washout plugs at the top. There's some subtle leaks at the bottom here that were going well, but the ones on the washout plugs, the sleeves, need to be welded around too. So we rolled it out to drain some of the water out of the top of it. And when we saw that those were no longer leaking, we pushed it back in. Well, that's after we got the cover on the steam dome that's up there. I'll go show you that in a moment. But we did all that today. Most of the things are now on there for the wire and the steam. I think there's a couple more pipes that need to go on the sides and into the cab. Not sure. He was working on the copper tubing that goes some more of the devices, and some of those were leaking too. He had to shut all the valves off. He left a few of them open. We also found a leaky stay bolt, unfortunately, but what we think happened is the Boilermakers might have grabbed the wrong stay bolt and put it in. That might have been cracked or in the telltale. That was one we needed to have replaced. So they'll bring it out again tomorrow, and they'll torch it out and put a new one in. Anyway, I want to show you on the side here. The 126 has arrived, and I need to do like an overview on this. Maybe next week or sometime this month, hopefully, when I get even more information on it. But unlike the 75, it's an 060T, so it's got an extra axle. And I think because of that, even though it's close to the same size, it's actually 1 ton bigger, probably because of the extra axle and a little longer frame. It sits a little bit lower than the 75 though, but it fits in about pretty close to the same space. Like I said, it's a little bit longer than the 75 is, but it shouldn't have any trouble sitting on the one track over here in the shop. But yeah, just in case you're wondering, the middle driver here, it is blind, so it can go around some pretty sharp turns, and yeah, just like a lot of the 6 driving wheel engines, that's how it does it. I'd see a lot of model engines that were 8 drivers that had the two middle axles have blind wheels, but I don't think I've ever seen that in real full-size trains. I have seen 6-wheel. Another one, you remember on the Huckleberry Railroad, the 152 has a middle set of blind drivers, and so is the number 110 down at the Little River Railroad. So yeah, the 126 is here. I guess it's gonna run its first trip on Tuesday. They gotta put the wire in it tomorrow, and it's gonna run for one trip for I think he said the Baker College faculty up here in Wasso. They're paying to have it run. I guess they're gonna take it out with the open car, which is sitting over here. They've gotten the brakes hooked up finally, and they're gonna take one other coach, I guess. So not a very long train, but it's just the Baker College faculty here in Owasso. They're running out the train. There's the Mighty Mouse. Had some trouble, and we had to take some handfuls of sand and put it on the track here to pull out the 1225. Because with all the water in it, it weighs even more. It already weighs probably close to 215, if not, well, probably not that much. Probably about 210 tons now. Plus you add the 5,000, well, it's probably more than 5,000 gallons because we filled it up to make sure that it wasn't leaking. Really, of course, it was, but we haven't done the pressure test yet for the actual hydro for it. But we will be doing that soon. I'm not allowed to tell you when that date is because I'll probably get you a video. Everyone comes down here anyways, and I'm wondering, why I'm going to see more people show up just to say that they saw it happen. Hopefully we'll have a steam test a couple weeks after we do the initial hydro. So there's a hint for you. It's going to be coming up pretty soon. Hint, hint. Come on. I know a lot of people are still going to ask me questions on that because you keep asking me in the comments section of the YouTube page, and on almost every video I do of this now. But here's your chance. It's going to be happening real soon in the next coming weeks, because we got to do, now that the water's in there, we're going to fill it back up once the leaks that we found have been repaired. Fill it back up, and then now that the cap is on there, we're going to pressurize it to pass the safety range of the boiler that's supposed to be at, to make sure that nothing else starts leaking again, and that way we know it's safe. And then once that's for sure, we're going to make the final repairs on the superheater tubes and shove them back in there. That's another reason why I'm not telling you when the steam test is, because then the volunteers who also watch this wouldn't show up to help us put those in there. We need about a dozen people. We'll have a scaffolding in front, and the big door will be open here, and we'll lift them up and shove them on in there and connect them. We'll shove them through the tubes and connect them to the throttle assembly in the smoke box. But I don't know here how much we'll see. The door here is kind of going against the top of this thing, but you can see in there. Gotta make that noise. Oh, maybe there it goes. Okay. Okay, you can see in here. There's a little bit of rust spot. That's from the tubes that have those small leaks in them. I believe the tubes themselves, there's no water coming out of them. It's just around the ends where they fill into the tube sheet, and it was just a couple of them from what I can see, maybe 3 or 4. You can kind of see in there. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, maybe a little bit. You can see the little rust spots coming out of them. That's where the water formed up, and it's pretty much stopped, so maybe they've rusted shut for now, but they'll check it again before they do the hydro. And from what I can see in here, none of the others are leaking. So another good sign. So the fact that only 3 or 4, or maybe 5 are leaking out of the over 200 tubes that are in here, that's pretty good. And they're not leaking anymore, it doesn't look like. So that means they're... And when it heats up, all these things will expand. And if there were any more possibilities of leaking, it would happen then. But the pressure test should seal it shut. And of course, when everything expands, it all wants to fit snug against each other, so we shouldn't have that problem anymore. Because any of that rust up in there will get in there and seal it that way too. Rust the smoke box. I still want to take this this plug out and clean that out. Make sure that it all fits in there right again. Because all the ashes that formed in there, I couldn't get out with the vacuum. So we'll see what happens. Okay, close this up and show you the cap on the steam dome. Okay, hold your ears. If you should be sitting back down on that thing. Yeah. And there. Okay. Well, it didn't creak that time. I guess it's already down as far as it can go on those bolts. Because in order to fit the door up snug, it has to be pushed in on those hinges, and then it's locked shut with the nuts on the outside. Anyway, coming up here now, we got the throttle valve, and someone had this open. I found one week, and I was kind of mad because everything is supposed to keep shut. You know, they had so that it was pushed forward. I had to pull it back, make sure it's a little bit loose right now. It should be back as far as it can go. Make sure those valves are shut because it's not supposed to be opened until it's under steam or some other type of pressure to make sure it's sealed and shut off. Because like I said, there's no bar across yet to the throttle. So the fact that someone was up here and they must have grabbed it to hold on or something and opened it, that's a no-no. We don't want those valves to come unseated in there. And yeah, so I made sure it was moved back. Like I said, it felt like it was moving just a second ago when I pulled on it, come back. So now it's shut off. So don't push it forward. That's why I keep telling them. You know, but anyway, here's the cap on the dome. I would have come up here to show us putting the wire in here, but I had to do that. So the reason all these aren't nutted down yet is because we ran out of washers for them. We must have lost the washers. Supposedly they're in a bucket that was marked, but we found the bucket that was full of the nuts, and there were only a few of the washers in there. So not all of them been tightened down, just enough to hold on the cover. And I guess this valve up here, he was saying that that's how they let the air out when they get under steam. They crack the throttle, and that's supposed to push the air out of it so that there's not a big air bubble in the it gets into the dry pipe and gets into your pistons. So that's how they do that. So like we left the ratchet up here, and the covers still aren't locked down for the sand dome, but yeah, we'll get there. Still gotta find. Supposedly we still gotta find some more nuts that held the sandbox on. I think once he gets the jacketing put on, that'll definitely need to happen. But if we didn't get the jacket done in time for North Pole Express, we'd still need to have the nuts on it to hold that on there. He says that we'd run it for North Pole Express without any jacketing on it, but I kind of don't want to do that because that makes it look disgusting. Yeah, we still haven't finished the macro epoxy up here yet. He said he doesn't want to do that until we found any more leaks. So that way they can be covered up. Because now it's gotten to the point where he wants to make sure he can find them instead of just covering them over. But none of these are leaking here. I can see. Well, this is one of them that is leaking around the collar here. This one was just like a trickle down. You can see the little rust patches. The wire that was in there, that we put in there, all the debris, the little piece of debris floated up to the top, and there was a little trail of oil. The wire is green, but you can see inside the steam dome, there was a little slick of oil in there, and whatever little piece of the dirt floated up to the top. So that'll all be taken care of after the hydro. When we do the steam test, that'll all be blown out. All the cylinders will have to be blown out too. You going, Kevin?
Yeah, lock the shop up, lock the tool car up, dummy lock the gate.
Okay.
So don't block the gate because the boilermakers gotta get in for your.
Okay. They're gonna be here at 8.
No, oh, no, they're gonna be here a lot earlier. They're about 6:30. They're gonna get here.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna take those blocks with me up front too. There's about 50 of them. Okay. See you later. I'll be back Saturday tomorrow. Yep. We got the caps on where the safeties go. Actually, let me show you. These caps were made by the MSU Railroad Club when they started working on the engine in the 70s. So you can see these ones were made for them, and they got the 1225 number on them. See Michigan State University Railroad Club on there. So, yeah, just another piece of history on that. I don't think I mentioned this, what this pipe was. I wasn't sure exactly if it was all the same thing or not, but yeah, this whole thing is part of the low water alarm. That was that whistle in the cab that's supposed to blow when the water gets too low and could expose the crown sheet. So there's a bunch of connections in there. The steam rises up in there, and the copper connections go into this portion here. And the rest of it goes back to the whistle that's in the cab. We got the pipes. This one goes for the blowdowns, and supposedly the steam will come up here and spin out all the debris. The steam is supposed to go out at the top, and any debris is empty out of there from the bottom. So that's how the blowdowns work, other than, you know, you can release them on the side. As you saw Barney in the earlier video, when he released the one, the wire came out. If it's under steam, it'll turn into a jet of steam too. We got the turret pipe up here, and now the steam pipe's coming off of it. This one goes down to the injector. There's one on the other side that goes down to the water pump, and well, no, that one on the other side goes down to the stoker, to run the stoker. The water pump just runs off another connection, because the steam doesn't mix with the water in that one. In the injector, the steam will mix with it, so it doesn't have to go through the feed wire here. And as you can see, it's rusted up a little bit because this is also where we had some more leakage. And some of the copper lines, I think, well, this pipe up here connecting to the turret valve, this one going to the water column inside the cab was leaking, and we had to tighten that up. And after I tightened it up, it trickled down and eventually stopped. So it's pretty tight. I hand tightened it, and I tried to get the wrench around it, and it wasn't big enough, but it stopped anyway. So it might be pretty tight as it is. But this one and the washout on the other side, the collars here were leaking pretty bad too, and it was just running down this thing. I almost wish we had the macropoxy on here already. If it was up to me, I would have had that all done by now, but it's gotten too late, and he wanted to put wire in it, so now we gotta wait till after the rest of it's done. Probably around the time of the steam test, so that way we know it's all sealed shut. But I'm gonna climb down. I have to climb down this way because we haven't got the toe boards. They're outside actually. We haven't got the toe boards underneath the cab installed yet. Also, on the other side, the valve opening for the pipe, the check valve was open. That was leaking, and we thought that was it. But when we closed that, we found we had to seal up one of the connections on here. It was on the other side. Now on this side was fine. It was on the fireman's side. Yeah, if you heard him on the video here just a few minutes ago, he told me to lock up. But the Boilermakers are gonna be here early, so I can't exactly lock the gate because they don't have a key. So I'm gonna lock up everything else to make sure it's all safe. A lot of places do that, but nothing in here is gonna get stolen on my watch. I'm gonna pick up some more stuff here, but we had to move the scaffolding back to get the locomotive out. But most of the stuff up there is already done, so we don't really need it. We're going to keep it out though. Probably got to work on some connections to the cab. We got some conduits running, and the handrail itself is also a conduit for more wires that run through. As you can see up here, we got one connector, and that runs to that conduit, and that, I guess that's supposed to run to the class lights, I think, that are not on there yet. So if you're wondering, we're going to wait till it's all closed up to put those on. My biggest concern would be if we don't put all the jacking on, we at least get the jacking on the smoke box, so that way it'll have the builder's plate, and will stay clean when the smoke and the steam starts ringing down on it, on this portion, because this is the portion that had the leak under the smokestack. If you recall from last year, we cleaned off all that rust that was on here and got spick and span, got it all painted up. So I don't want that ever to happen again. I sealed up the bottom of that smokestack with the macro epoxy. I'm hoping it stays all sealed. But you can see the wire here where the blowdown was opened on the one side. But they actually have wire leaking in here. You can't see it very well. I'm not going to shine the light in there because I'm afraid of what I'll see. But supposedly one stable was all that was leaking. It was ringing down there pretty badly, and that's what, like I was saying, he thinks that the Boilermakers probably grabbed the wrong stable and welded it in there and had a crack in it or something, because it was ringing right out of the telltale. So we're pretty sure that's what happened. So they'll torch that out tomorrow, and the Boilermakers will put a new one in. So the job wasn't quite finished, but yeah, hopefully that's all we need to call them back for. But hopefully we get the trim over on this side, on the other side, the engineer side of the cab. I vacuumed that out over there. Even the window's still on the other side. I still got to do this side. I also vacuumed out the truck over there. This side, the fireman's side of the truck, it's still got a lot of welding crap all over and dirt and stuff. When we moved it off the turntable, when all the journals fell and you hear it creaking and cracking in there, that's because some of the metal got in there, and hopefully we'll get that all cleaned out next time. Yeah, it was pretty bad, but on the other side too, but I got that all cleaned before they had to move it. But you gotta do it one thing at a time, I guess. One thing I wasn't supposed to show you, but they accidentally knocked off one of these here at the very bottom one. These are actual little water spigots, if you ever wondered what those were. And there's a valve at the top the fireman opens, and what he's doing is he lets water run down. This is so he can tell how much water is in the tender. See, it's supposedly if it's up at the top, there's going to be water coming out of the top ones too. But as it gets lower, only the lower ones will have water coming out of them. And he's going to weld this back up, so we're not going to really worry about that. It's just got to be done before it starts running again. Even though it would work anyway, but it doesn't look so great. I don't know how they did that. They must have hit something really hard. Maybe it was the door. Anyway, up here in the cab, they got some stuff going in. And I think they're just about put all the devices in it by now. But it's kind of dark. I don't know if the light will work. Nope. He didn't leave. Well, let's see. This one. Connect it there. I don't think the auxiliary power is on, but we can try. I don't think it's going to. Oh well. I'll go get the flashlight and show you guys. Okay, so I got the light now, and you got the bigger one again. Yeah, you're welcome. So you can see more of the stuff in here. More lines got done, and they put the shelf back for the oil and the lubrication. And some more. They took the tubes out for the stoker. They gotta go back in eventually, but they're making sure that they fit right. Got a handle for the whistle. I think this is for the fireman side, but that would hang on a bar across here so that the engineer and the fireman could blow the whistle too. But when it was built, it was just the whistle valve here on the brake stand that did it. But anyway, one big thing that went in is the pressure gauge is finally back in. And what's so great about this one is it actually has the engine number emblazoned right on it. It's nice, big, and it's got two faces, and one so the fireman can see, and the other side for the engineer, so you can tell how high your boiler pressure is. The operating pressure on this engine is 245, and the safety is 250, but this thing will probably hold a good 300 pounds of pressure. I think that's what we gotta get up to for the pressure test for the hydro. But it could go, this one's got so that it could go all the way to 400 on here. It'll hopefully never get up that high. This one is also a backlit device, as you can see in here, just like on the speedometer and the brake gauges. The light would actually go in here and shine down on the gauge like so. Like, let's see if I can get, yeah, kind of like this, only it's in a little bit farther so you can see it better. But, yeah, that's how that works. The line is already going to it up underneath. Hopefully, the kink isn't too bad here. And hopefully it's just right to let the right amount of steam. It's got, this should have been how it was when they took it apart, so it was all labeled. We can now, like I said, we got the copper running to the safety whistle as well, below water alarm, and the other one coming from the other side here. And yeah, I just love how the engine's number is right on there. That way you can't mix up which engine you got to put back on. Now that we're going to do that, there's only two left, and 1223 still got its on from what I've seen. Anyway, we got the wire glasses, which I probably showed you last time, and there's got to be another pipe that comes off here. We still haven't got the extension arm, so the engineer can run the cold water pump like the fireman can. As you can see, the connection is there. Got the pipe running up to it, and well, no, the pipe goes up to for the stoker, and the cold water goes down underneath the cab to the front of the truck there, where the cold water pump is. Anyway, in here, if you're wondering what this bar hanging out here was, there's no handle on it right now, but this is for the blower valve, and eventually that'll go on there. The bar actually runs up underneath the catwalk and would go behind the jacketing, and it comes up to the pipe there in the front of the smoke box, which is the outer portion of the blower pipe. So if you're wondering what that pipe was at the very front, I mean the fireman's side of the smoke box, that's what it's for. It's for the blower. Anyway, still got to drill some holes out on this side for the injector so the engineer can run it. But the cylinder cock valve is in here now, and supposedly they're going to get that installed. It'll actually go right here and underneath the reverser. Not sure if they need to drill a hole in the floor for that too. I thought it was supposed to go somewhere in here, but I don't think there's enough room out there. So that proves me wrong, I think. They'd probably have to go pipe down through the floor here. But we'll see. I'll correct myself if that's wrong. But yeah, so all this is the same. You saw all these valves got put in last time, and all the yeah, like I said, all the washout plugs were put in so we could fill it with water today. Didn't get this side vacuumed though for the windowsill or the bottom of the cab. And one thing that we got here is these pipes here are the cab steam heaters. Because despite what you think about steam engines being all hot inside the cab, it's really not that way in the winter, especially when this is all lagged and jacketed, which if we came up to the deadline, it wouldn't be. But I really want to see it go down the track all finished. But yeah, then they'd all be complaining that there's no heat in here. So these are what that takes care of. They're painted green to match the inside of the cab, but we still haven't painted the cab yet because it's not finished. And we still can't get a hold of our painter, so it's a real pain in the butt here. But these will get installed, and then hopefully they'll put the planks back on the floor, and they'll be able to mount the chairs in to the engineer and the fireman, so they can sit down and maybe have a buddy back here on the ends. So this seat will be pushed forward. But yeah, it's coming along. It's come a long way, and in the past 2 weeks, and we'll see when we do the hydro if any more leaks happen. Hopefully not. And then we'll do a steam test a couple weeks after that once we get the superheaters put in. Here they opened up the grate in the floor for the stoker here. You can see the stoker PTO shaft going down the screw. There's a little bit of coal left in there. If they didn't want to get out, they just covered it up so that way they wouldn't have to mess with it. But some of the rust got in there too. So that'll have to be ran through and hopefully fall through the grates when they get put back in. As you can see, they're all sitting in here waiting to go, and so is some of the old fire brick. We got some new fire brick. I passed it on the way down, but we got some new fire brick sitting over there on the other side of the scaffold. We got 4 bricks inside the firebox so far, I believe, and the rest of it over there makes about 20. So we got half of them done. And here, let me remind you from last time. So yeah, those are the 4 that we got in there so far, and they're not exactly in place except for the big one there in the middle. The other ones on top will go on the arch tubes, spread across the arch tubes on the side. And I can kind of show you. I think the leak was on this side, but I don't see where it is now. So don't worry about it. We'll get it fixed tomorrow. But yeah, remember last time I showed you in there, it was all finished. So maybe I'll crawl back in there once we get all the grates and the chute done before it gets fired up. So we'll see. And so for now, I'm going to climb out of the cab here. And gotta be real careful. Came down hard on that gangway. It still needs to be hammered in the spot over there. Came down a little bit hard and got wedged in. So I'm gonna try not to bump that anymore, but they'll get that fixed too. Yeah, so here's the first set of superheaters ready to go in. And yeah, it's come a long way, and we're now into September. We got about 6 weeks to go before we'll have it hopefully all done, well, at least ready enough for the North Pole Express Christmas runs the day after Thanksgiving. Check out our website and Facebook, Steam Millwrighting Institute. Make sure you get the place, because someone created a fan page, I guess, on us, and some people get that mixed up with us, with our actual page. So make sure you check that. And for any recent updates, and our website is updated every so often to reflect that. So still got a ways to go, mostly painting on the outside here, and they'll be lagged and jacketed hopefully by that time. I really don't want to see it go down the rails looking all scruffy like this, but if we had to, it would be running. So at least the tender's done on the outside. We'll see more in the upcoming weeks. So I guess that this is update 1 for September 2013 on the 1225. Maybe we'll get another update when we do the hydro, or something else goes on it. We'll see. So from Owasso, Michigan, 1225 is getting ready.